so I would. Because there's nothing quite like a look on somebody's face when they give you a whack and they realise they can't hurt you.
Yeah.
False Idol says, when you said these people were wankers, I thought, hang on a minute, but after looking at a few of these posts on the forums, I have to say I agree. They are. I think most of them seem jealous for some reason and moan about hearing the same caller, and yet they don't have a go themselves. And like you say, they should phone in and air their views to the people in question. So yes, they are wankers. Thank you.
But, yeah, and... Oh...
Adrian said, I was wondering where this forum rant was going, and now we know. Tommy Boy can stand anything that is said to him, bar being called boring. And your nose is out of joint because nobody is talking about you. No, that's crap, Adrian. You're a wanker. And you know you are. You're a complete wanker, Adrian. That's very poor. I'm not boring, and you know I'm not. And it's not because nobody's talking about me. It's because I want to protect people who don't deserve the kind of vile spite that you get from people like you, Hadrian, because you're a coward. Phone me up. Phone me up and we'll talk about it, Hadrian. Otherwise, you're a wanker. You're obviously still listening because you've sent in a text. This is somebody who pretends his name's Fred Fitzgerald, but you're a bit of a wanker too because your name's not Fred Fitzgerald, is it?
Yeah, because I'm banned on my proper account. But yeah, I am a wanker, I fully admit it. Nothing wrong with masturbating.
No, we're not talking about masturbating. We're talking about being a wanker. That is different.
No, well, how? Please explain. I'm a bit thick, seeing as I'm Irish.
Nah, sorry, Bob. You know what a wanker is compared to somebody who engages in masturbation. You know what a wanker is, don't you? Don't say no, I don't. Explain, enlighten me. Just let's move on. Everybody knows what a wanker is.
Well, if you say so, Tommy.
Yeah, I do, actually, and you know it as well. And part of the reason you're a wanker is because you say things like that. You know what a wanker is, and yet you're going, oh, no, I don't know, tell me. If you say so, that's wanking. What you're conversationally now wanking. Let's have a proper conversation and not one of these wanky ones that you want to do.
Fine.
Good, off you go then. You rang, I didn't ring you. You rang me. What do you want to say?
I just want to say that you're dismissing forums, and the thing about forums is that you have to take the rough for the smooth. There's lots of good things about forums.
Nah, that's shit. That is what you just said there. You're wanking
really?
Again. Yeah,
so
you're wanking again.
You're saying it's shit that
yeah,
people...
you're wanking again. Come on, you give me some examples of some of the smooth.
I'll give you...
Give me examples of some of the smooth.
Yes, I'll give you some.
Do it now.
I've created an audio archive of your work since the early 80s even, in LBC.
That's nothing to do with forums.
It is.
No, it isn't.
The people who belong to those forums compiled them.
No, I'm talking about what's on the forums, and you know that. Stop wanking. We're talking about what's on the forums. Tell me the smooth on the forums.
That is on the forums.
What is?
You go to the links and you can download the audio stuff.
Wank. You know it. The people who write on these forums are largely cowards who like to write nasty things about people who are vulnerable and don't have the opportunity to defend themselves. And that makes me very angry. And it should do you too if you've got any integrity.
No, admittedly there are
Do you have
trolls.
any integrity?
I do have integrity,
Do you have any nobility?
Sorry?
Nobility.
Nobility? Of
yes.
course I do.
Do you, though? Do you have any courage?
I do.
And how can you possibly think that all this nasty little vile semen-covered spite that you get on these forums about good people can in any way be defensible?
No, I think that there are like a
Anyway,
small...
I'm going to let you go because I've got Hadrian calling and that's who I wanted to talk to. Hello, Hadrian.
Good day, how are you?
Wanker.
I said, how are you? And you said wanker.
Yes, I did. I said wanker. That's you.
You're suggesting you're a wanker.
You said, and your nose is out of joint because nobody is talking about you. You're a wanker if you think that.
No, I didn't.
Did you write that? Did you write that?
I certainly didn't call you a wanker.
Did you write it?
I certainly didn't call you a wanker.
I asked you if you wrote it.
You're asking me if I wrote...
What I'm just quoting
you're a wanker.
You. No,
I didn't call you a wanker, no.
You're being a wanker now, because I didn't say
Never
that.
At any point did I call you a wanker.
You tosser. You said, did you write?
Nope,
I didn't say you...
a tosser either.
You can fuck off because I didn't say that. What I said was,
Yes, you did, and I will consult your archive later and prove it to you.
You're a wanker.
You need to have pauses. You need to have commas.
You're a complete wanker. Who are you? What's your real name?
You need to calm down.
What's your real name?
You need to take a deep breath.
No, I'm enjoying myself. What's your name? What's your real name? Do you want to come over here and we'll continue the conversation face to face? Have you got the balls?
Well,
that's a no, isn't it? You're a wanker.
I would.
You write unpleasant things about people because you know you're never going to meet them. Wanker.
That isn't unpleasant, is it?
You're a wanker.
That isn't saying your nose was out of joint. All I said was Tommy Boyd can't stand anything. No, sorry, Tommy Boyd can stand anything that's said to him bar being called boring. Didn't call you boring. I said you didn't like to be called boring, which you proved by going through the roof and challenging me for physical combat.
Can you do it?
I'm saying, can you do what? Sorry.
Can you do it, wanker?
Can I do what?
Come round here and we'll do it. It's not very far. It's not very far from where you live.
I would need a good £50 an hour for my time.
You're going to do it?
What?
Come round.
£50 an hour? You want to pay me £50 an hour?
You are such a wanker, aren't you?
I am not coming round.
You're a wanker.
What do you do? For some bizarre
What's your real name?
My ratings are dropping. I'll pretend I'm angry.
What's your real name?
My ratings are dropping. Let's pretend we're having a fight on air.
What's your real name, wanker?
I'm not into that.
What's your real name?
If you wish to pay me £50 an hour,
what's your real name? Have you got the guts? If you're not a wanker, what's your real name?
Say?
What's your real name?
Pardon me?
You are such a wanker, aren't you? What's your real name?
Right, so I see. So you are. Oops, excuse me. You are a self-confessed
It's not a fucking A-level question, son. What's your real name? You're hiding behind your anonymity. Wanker. Wanker. Hiding behind your anonymity. You haven't even got the courage to say what your real name is.
Established internet practice.
What's your real name? What's your real name? What's your real name? What's your real name? What is your real name?
Oh, I've double-clicked twice.
What's your real name? What is your real name? You haven't got any courage.
You've recently come onto the internet. You've recently come onto the internet. And just because you want to call yourself by your...
Wanker. You're a wanker. What are you?
At least I'm not a boring wanker.
You are a wanker.
So I'm not a boring wanker.
Now you're calling me boring. You said you weren't calling me boring.
No, I didn't call you a boring wanker.
You're a wanker.
At least I'm not a boring wanker.
You're a complete
I never at any point have called you boring.
Do you know what?
At least I'm not a boring wanker.
Yeah.
At least I'm not a goat. Does that mean I'm calling you a goat?
You're
no,
a
it doesn't.
Wanker. You're useless. You're rubbish.
Again,
you haven't got a girlfriend and you've never had a decent fight.
This is brilliant.
Have you got a girlfriend? Have you got a girlfriend?
You thought this would be a brilliant
Have you got a girlfriend?
You thought this
Have
would be
you ever had a girlfriend? Have you ever had a girlfriend? Or have you ever had a girlfriend? Or is it just your right arm?
That's my left arm, isn't it?
Have you ever had a girlfriend?
Yes.
Have you got one now?
No.
I bet you haven't. Have you got a job?
Yes.
What do you do?
Which is disturbing now,
What do you do? What do you do?
Disturbing now with your...
What do you do? What do you do?
Attempt to grab...
What do you do? What is your job?
Administration.
A data fucking administrator. You're exactly the person we were profiling earlier with a dead-end job.
Oh, because I
dead-end, boring, vulnerable, unpaid, no girlfriend, misunderstood parents. You're a wanker. Now look, here's what I advise to you. Here's what I advise to you. Here is what I advise you to do. Tell me the best book you've ever read, wanker.
The Bible.
Well, you need to read something good.
Such as?
Well, I would start you off with something like To Kill a Mockingbird, or possibly Le Petit Prince by Saint-Exupéry, or Le Grand Monde by Alain Fournier, or maybe even L'étranger by Camus.
This is another thing.
Or possibly, since you asked the question, possibly.
Thank you for the advice.
Have you ever read Catcher in the Rye?
Negative.
No. What have you read?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
And?
A selection of books.
What's the best film you've ever seen? Have you ever seen anything by Rapinoe or Kurosawa?
I will tell you my favourite book, and that is Keep the Aspidistra Flying.
Ever seen a decent film?
I've seen a a selection of films. I don't watch too many. Now, what you're going to do now is what you always do.
Have you ever got into a fight?
Have you
ever got into a fight?
Oh, many fights.
Physical fights?
Yeah, that's one.
And what's the worst damage you've ever had done to you in a physical fight?
Wrist broken.
How did that happen?
I have memory loss. It was outside a strip club. There was an altercation.
Why do you do things like I have memory loss? That's wanking. Do you not understand this?
Because I hit my head on the pavement. It's quite, as you would know if you were the big fighting man, quite often when you're drunk and you have a fight and you sustain a blow to the head, you have memory loss.
Not me. I've had my skull fractured twice.
No, you haven't. We've heard the story where you chased some guy for 5 miles and then ran off in the opposite direction because he was chasing you. That was a big wasn't it?
Wasn't the story.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
No,
you
were
chasing some guy.
Yes,
you were chasing some guy with a copper. The copper got out.
But I didn't fracture. I didn't have my skull fractured.
Oh, big hero.
Yes, that's right.
He has.
Yeah, because you haven't done anything like that. All that's happened to you is that you've got drunk and fallen and hitting your head on that. You've never actually stood up for yourself. Have you?
All you did was beat up a 14-year-old emo kid who you put as a big hard skinhead.
You've never actually stood up for yourself against anybody, have you?
Big man on the tube,
Have you ever done it? Have you ever done it? Have you ever stood up for yourself against a person in the same room as you? Have you got the balls to do that? You never have you?
We've had this...
You've never done it, have you? You don't know what it feels like to actually stand up for yourself in the presence of somebody, who can rebut you. You do it anonymously on phone calls and on Skypes and on forums. You do it anonymously.
I'm not doing it anonymously, am I? I've called into you about 6 or 7 times.
What's your name?
You are tarring me with the digital spy brush.
You're being anonymous because you haven't got the bollocks to say what your real name is. You're pathetic. You're absolutely pathetic. You are honestly... You are... I don't know what it must be like to be like you. I cannot imagine how ignominious, how terrified you must be to look at yourself in the mirror and look into the face of somebody who is so pathetic. You've never done anything and you never will do anything. You don't amount to anything and you never will amount to anything. Nobody will ever love you. Nobody will ever respect you because you're a wanker. You have nothing. Nothing. You're absolutely useless. You are a waste of a human skin. You have got the mind and the heart of a rocking horse. Why don't you start today to become the person that you really want to be? Why don't you today start the process of becoming the human being that you could be? Listen to you, you're just a wanker. You're just
boring the audience.
You're saying wanky things.
You've done this before on about 5 others.
You're saying wanky things.
5 other radio stations.
What are you?
Shit.
Are you a wanker?
Left. What can we do?
Look, son, if that's the best you can do to insult me, do you not realise what an uneven contest this is?
Thomas,
you can't
I don't
do
want
it.
to insult you.
But you can't.
I think you're a decent.
You can't. You can't.
I will say
you don't have the ability.
You're
you haven't come out with anything that's of any use. It's got no teeth. It's got no barb. It's got no meat. It's got no weight. It's got no lather. It's got no life. It's got no blood. It's got no sanguinity. You don't have anything. You're a dead man. You're a zombie. You don't exist. There's no point to you. You're not even a drink of water. You're just nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Right, well... I'm glad you got your rant at the digital spy people.
Okay, that was quite good radio, wasn't it? You're right there.
I was just enjoying that.